We are all making it up as we go. I mean, there's so many other times where people should have been mad and they weren't.
I'm gonna cry. Oh my gosh.
That's all I have to say, so. Hi, my name is Kayla Kunke. I am a Canadian actress who's based in Toronto, and today I thought it'd be interesting to react to a video that went somewhat viral during the beginning of the year. Variety has this series called Actors on Actors. If you've never seen it before, it's a series where two actors sit down with each other and have a conversation on their career, sometimes just about life. Mostly they talk about the film that they're promoting and that specific role. This typically will come out during award season. So I thought it'd be interesting to give my perspective as an actress who has been pursuing this dream for a long time. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. The video I thought I would react to today is Mikey Madison and Pamela Anderson's conversation. I am going to be watching the whole video, not just the clip that went viral, because I think there's a really interesting conversation to be had around everything, not just the one part, which if you know, you know, but we'll get to it when we're there.
I'm such an admirer of your work, and I loved your film. I can't wait to get into that. But how do you feel right now?
Just to give some context here, just so we know what these two women are talking about, Mikey is promoting her film Honora, and Pamela Anderson is promoting The Last Showgirl.
I feel a little nervous actually right when they called action.
I know, me too. I know, because how do you start a conversation about all of this? I mean, you must be so excited. Your film is doing so well and all this attention.
I just want to say, I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for already pausing so many times, but I think this is such a good pairing. Whenever I see these conversations, I always think that they do a really good job at picking two actors who just would have a good conversation. I think both of these women have done very interesting and beautiful roles, and they both just seem so genuine. Like they both have this very sweet, genuine, just amazing aura around them.
And I mean, it's exciting, but surreal, right?
I'm so lucky to be in a film like this, and I've been dreaming my entire career as an actress to be in the place that I am right now. So it feels surreal.
Which is
I don't know,
nominated for
some
an
of it
Oscar.
doesn't quite feel real at times. It's sort of similar. We both got our starts in television. When I was 15, I got a TV show called Better Things that lasted for 5 seasons over the course of 7 years. And so that was my introduction into everything. I really knew basically nothing about acting or what it was like to be on set, play a character.
Typical. Most people don't know until they're there. Like when you're first starting out, even when you've gone to school, even when you've taken classes and workshops and you've prepared, you're never really prepared. Honestly, you don't know what it's like until you're actually on set. And every set is also very different. So it can be very overwhelming. But yeah, acting is very much learning on the fly.
And so over the course of those 7 years, I really was able to
7 years, wow. Booking a role where you have consistent work for 7 years is the dream. And that is such a good learning opportunity.
My feet into the water and cut my teeth on something and learn.
I was always very curious about the craft of acting, but I didn't really have to apply myself when I was running around in a bathing suit. I can only watch. So I was curious about it, but I would be sitting on the floor of Samuel French and reading Tennessee Williams and Eugene O'Neill plays and just didn't know how to get from there to there.
It's very refreshing to hear her talk about how she didn't know how to get to where she is right now. And I find that that's so relatable. As an actor, I think there's this constant wanting to evolve and this constant wanting to get to the next step or the next phase of your career. And honestly, we are all making it up as we go. Even the people who look like they have everything figured out, they are making it up as they go as well. Interesting. Love it.
That and you too. I mean, you worked for Quentin Tarantino, one of my favorite filmmakers, and Sean Baker. So did they pursue you? Did you see the script? Did you audition?
Oh yeah, so for Nora, Sean had seen a horror film that I did, Scream, and we went to go see
Just
it
a little
on the
horror film,
weekend.
Scream.
And I think he was already sort of thinking about the plot for Honora, and he cast me in it just from the film. So it was the easiest casting process I've
Wow.
ever had to go through.
That's actually crazy because, I mean, if you've seen Scream and you've seen Honora, those are two very different characters, right? It's very rare, honestly. Usually when you hear stories like this, it's they played a very similar role and a director or producer, casting director saw them and kind of showed them to whoever needed to see them.
I've never had to not audition for something before.
That's the dream.
But yeah, I mean, I'm so lucky as well that Sean saw something in me that made him
She
think
seems
that I
so
could play
genuine.
this kind of character. I wanted to ask you how this film came about. Like, when did you first read the script?
Oh, well, first of all, I was in my garden at home, Vancouver. I was making pickles. And
Love her.
I really have pickles. I'm a big pickle maker and jam, and I just love my garden. I'm kind of obsessed.
Do you grow your own
I
cucumbers?
grow my own cucumbers. Yes.
If you are an actor, have hobbies outside of acting. Honestly, it is the thing that will save you. Having hobbies outside of acting. So, love to hear this.
I went home to kind of remember who I was. I had just started getting sick of playing all these characters in my personal life, so that's when I started taking off the makeup and getting into the garden, getting my hands dirty. And I didn't really have representation at the time, but
That's
Gia tried to
crazy.
find me through it.
That's crazy, actually, because I see Pamela Anderson as a huge star, and she's definitely having a resurgent in her career right now, but she didn't have representation. Like, that's wild.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. I could hear the voices in my head. I could see the movie. I felt there's no one else in the world that could play this role. I mean, obviously there is, but I felt.
No. If you have seen The Last Showgirl, I can see why Gia really wanted Pamela to play this role. I truly don't think that there was anybody else who could play this role. I think that it was just a combination of a lot of things. This role was definitely made for her, and I would not be surprised if it was made with her in mind.
So strongly about it. And I remember my first conversation with Gia just going, I can do this. And she goes, no, I know you can do this. This is why I've been looking for you.
Yeah, right.
I knew the whole movie like a play before I even got to Las Vegas.
Wow.
And it was a lot. I know with you're in every scene of your film. I was in every scene of my film. A lot to prepare for. You really have to immerse yourself. I was wondering what the process was like for you. How do you prepare for
Love
something
this.
like that?
Well, it was a character that immediately felt different than anything I've ever done before. And also someone who just felt so far away from home in every single way. And it was very intimidating at first because I was like, how do I understand this person who feels so different? How do I empathize with her? And
That's so interesting because a lot of the times with acting, you hear this kind of like, how do you bring yourself to a role? Which, in a sense, yes, but I mean, how do you relate though to a character? Or like, for instance, Mikey playing in Scream, which spoiler alerts if you've never seen the Scream that she is in. You've been warned. She is Ghostface, right? So how do you relate to a character who's a murderer, right? So I love hearing this, bringing that empathy and just taking on that second skin, so to say.
so I was like, I think I just need to start small, start my preparation in different places. So I would start with working on the physicality of the character because she's a dancer. And I know you played a dancer too. So I'm curious to know what your preparation was like physically for that. But I did quite a bit of pole training. I sort of did this like stripper boot camp in a sense where I was taught how to give lap dances, how to twerk, which is such an important part of strip club culture.
She gives so much respect to this as well. You can just tell that there's no judgment at all. Like, I don't think she went into this role thinking, oh my God, I get to play a stripper so I can win an Oscar, right? You can just feel the love that she has for this character in this role. I mean, there's a reason why she won an Oscar for this role, right? But also, I love how she said starting small, learning the physicality. So much prep that can go into a character before you even read a script, before you even learn your line. Playing a stripper, you have to be believable as a stripper. So taking classes, learning pole, learning how to twerk. Love it.
And was something that I didn't know how to do. And I know, and there were pole tricks that I wanted to learn. And so I started developing my skills with that. And then I would dabble a little bit in like backstory of my character, really trying to get to the root of who she is, understand her morals. I asked myself lots of questions about her. I wanted to really go into depth and more detail than I ever have before. So like I would know everything about her, like what cigarettes she smokes, like what her school life was like, what her relationship to her parents are, so that when I got to Sean's set, because he's such an organic filmmaker, I wanted someone to ask me a question about my character and me always be able to answer it. And so I feel like I got to a place where I got there. And then obviously I had to learn as much Russian as possible on the dialect. So I just did little things at a time. And I think it sort of, over the course of 5 months, built up to this fully formed character.
Wow, that should be noted. Over the course of 5 months. 5 months is a lot of time. I mean, that is a huge privilege. Not everyone gets that. In fact, most people don't get that. The industry right now, today especially, moves so freaking quick. Sometimes everything, the audition, callback, testing, sometimes even fittings, and then being on set, all can happen within the same week, right? So, I mean, which also, like, 5 months is a lot, but also isn't that much time as well. Like, 5 months to learn a whole new skill. She said she did not know how to pole dance or anything like that before, right? So that is really impressive, but also super rare. Films now are filmed so quickly. The turnaround is insane sometimes. I've been on set and felt like I didn't fully understand my character until the last day. I've had conversations with other actors who have felt the exact same way. So I know with how quickly everything is that 5 months that's really lucky.
And I watched your film one time. I've only seen my film one time. And I felt like that was kind of a nice mirror to go in, and the vulnerability and the similarities, looking for love and attention. How Shelley had a barrier, because she was on stage and she was far away from the audience. And showgirls are not encouraged to mingle with people in the audience or in the casinos.
Another reason why this is such a good pairing.
Did you have an intimacy coordinator?
Here we go. So this is the part that went viral. So let's get into it.
That's the big thing now these days, right?
Yeah. Well, for our film, we didn't. It was a choice that I made, that the filmmakers offered to me if I wanted to bring on an intimacy coordinator or not. And at the time, Mark Eidelstein, who plays Yvonne in the film, we decided that it would be best just to keep it small with us, and then Sean Baker, the director, and Sammy Kwan, his producing partner, and his wife. And so I think that we were able to just really streamline it, shoot it super quickly, and there are less sex scenes, more sex shots. That's what Sean likes to say. And I think there's a lot of humor involved in them as well. And so it was a very positive experience for me. But also my character is a sex worker. And so to me, I had seen Sean's films and I know his dedication to authenticity. I also wanted to immerse myself in that. So I was ready for it. It requires a lot of her body and her skin. And so I think that, like I've said it before, but I think she wears her nudity more like a costume in a way. She presents herself in this sort of hypersexualized way because it's how she makes a living. And it's just what she has to do. And so I think I also, as an actress, approached it in a way of like it being a job. So I was very comfortable.
So that is the clip that went viral. A lot of people were mad on her behalf because she did not have an intimacy coordinator. A lot of people were saying, given the film, given the role, that it never should have happened, that there was not an intimacy coordinator there. For anyone who may not know, an intimacy coordinator is there to make sure that the actors are protected while filming any type of intimate scene, to make sure that all parties involved know before even going on to film what is going to be expected of you, and that they are done in a safe way, but also that they are comfortable with what they are doing. Normally, with scenes like this, you will get a script, you will see what is entailed, and you will agree before even signing on to the contract. You will see, oh, there is a sex scene. Oh, there is a nude scene. Oh, there is kissing. You will first see if you are comfortable with what is in the script. If you are not comfortable with what is in the script, you can sometimes negotiate what will be done, what will be done by you, or if they have to get a stand-in, or you can simply just pass on the script. Where a intimacy coordinator comes in is they kind of choreograph in a way what will be done. So all parties involved know before stepping in front of a camera, they know what they're expecting. They know what is to be done, what they will be doing, and they know not to deviate from that. The coordinator is also there to make sure that everybody is safe and feeling comfortable. Why this conversation went viral? People were mad that Mikey did not have an intimacy coordinator, but I don't think they fully listened to what she said. She said she had the choice. She said she felt safe. I mean, if she did not have the choice and she did not feel safe, of course, this would be a completely different conversation. And of course, if Mikey were to come out later on and say that, you know what, like looking back at it, I actually did not feel safe and I didn't have a choice and I didn't feel like I could come forward with that, then that is again another conversation to have. But I mean, if you listen to everything she's saying here, right? Here, let me go back a bit.
You know, for our film, we didn't. It was a choice that I made, that the filmmakers offered to me if I wanted to bring on an intimacy coordinator or not. And at the time, Mark Eidelstein, who plays Yvonne in the film, we decided that it would be best just to keep it small with us. And then
See, and that's another thing too. The intimacy coordinator is not just there for the female on set. I think we always assume that it's the woman who always needs to be protected. And while, yes, of course, in power dynamics, there that is a conversation on its own, there are two people. And she very clearly stated that not only was it a choice that she was given, but she's saying that this was something that her and then her scene partner obviously discussed at length and decided that they wanted, maybe they felt it would be more natural. Usually when you do have an intimacy coordinator, it is very scripted. Like every single movement is already preset. There's no deviating from that script. They had obviously already had a very detailed conversation with what they were and weren't comfortable doing. There's that.
the director and Sammy Kwan, his producing partner, and his wife. And so I think that
And that's another thing. Usually, when you are filming scenes that involve intimacy or nudity, those will be filmed on something called a closed set. So, a closed set means that only people who absolutely have to be there will be there. Generally, it will be your camera person, your actors, your director. Sometimes there's sound, sometimes even the director is in another room. And that also means screens are turned off. The camera is not going to be streaming to a whole bunch of TVs or televisions, nothing like that. And that's what she's saying here, that there was 4 of them there.
we were able to just really streamline it, shoot it super quickly, and there are less sex scenes, more sex shots.
And I think that's important too. I think that's really less sex scenes and sex shots, right? The right shots at the right angles where you understand what's going on. And that's exactly what it was. So,
And I think there's a lot of humor involved in them as well. And so it was a very positive experience for me.
she's saying it's a very positive experience. So again, like
But also my character is a sex worker.
Mm,
And
mm.
so
This is another part that I feel was really misunderstood. So,
seen Sean's films and I know his dedication to authenticity, I also wanted to immerse myself in that. So I was ready for it. It requires a lot of her body and her skin. And so I think that, like I've said it before, but I think she wears her nudity more like a costume in a way. She presents herself in this sort of hypersexualized way because it's how she makes a living. And it's just what she has to do. And so I think I also, as an actress, approached it in a way of like it being a job.
I saw this one take that I really, really didn't agree with, and I don't think they fully listened to what she had to say. But they pretty much said that because a lot of the time sex workers get into that line of business because of being taken advantage of and trauma, that because that was the role that she was playing, that not having a intimacy coordinator would make it more vulnerable and have her kind of be put in that position. And I don't think that's what she said at all. That's not what I hear. That's not what I take from it. And also, yes, that can be the case for a lot of sex workers. There are people who fully like that is what they want to do, and I think it's really degrading to just generalize all sex workers as they're only doing it because of trauma, and they're always being traumatized every time they do their job. I think that's really degrading to say as well. Her nudity was kind of like her costume, and it was just part of the job, and I fully agree with it. Again, if anything ever were to come out after the fact, of course, I think this would be a different conversation. People were mad, and I mean, there's so many other times where people should have been mad and they weren't. And I find it very interesting that in this conversation, she said that it was her choice and that she felt safe, and people were still mad when there are people who have come out and said quite literally the opposite, and people were like, oh, well, that's your job. That's what you signed up to do. And it's kind of like, okay, so why are we picking and choosing our battles here, right? So I think it's very interesting. And I mean, it comes from obviously a good place that when people want to protect women. But I also think we need to fully listen to the actual words that women speak. And if somebody is saying that they were safe, they felt safe, then we need to believe them just as much as when they said they didn't feel safe. So that's all I have to say. So let's move on.
I want to ask you what your preparation was like.
I worked with this great acting teacher, which I do a lot of, and I got to be able to bring a lot of my own personal experience.
I love that she said that she worked with an acting teacher. I think that acting is always evolving, and I don't think there's ever a point where you fully know what you're doing. So I think at every level you can and honestly should have an acting teacher or coach with you.
It's my kind of long life of dealing with beauty and glamour and aging
Mm.
and reassessing life choices. So I got to bring my whole life really into this role. It was such a relief to be able to play something where I could express myself that way. And of course, the physicality.
I think that's so interesting too, because like Mikey was talking about how the role she played was so different from her. And then here's Pamela talking about how this role felt very much in her wheelhouse. So I think that's very, very interesting.
I worked with Greg Butler, who was a choreographer for when I played Roxy in Chicago on Broadway.
I was going to ask you about that because you did that before going to The Last Showgirl, right?
Yeah, it was kind of like my warm up, which was nice because I really got.
I love that. I think that is such a beautiful transition. I think that wow, yeah. She said that was her warm up. Yeah, Roxy would be. That's so wow. I love that. I didn't know that. That's cool.
So I got to research that there, not knowing I was going to do, The Last Showgirl next. But there's a whole choreography when it comes to those costumes. They're like 50 to 80 pounds sometimes. And these headdresses, these
Mm,
Bob Mackie pieces that are museum pieces and had
they're
left the
beautiful. If you haven't seen the film, I highly suggest for the costume and cinematography. It's a stunningly beautiful film to watch, honestly. So, and of course, Pamela's performance is so just grounded in reality and lovely.
I had dinners at my house where I like to cook. So we were all cooking vegetable soup and
Mm,
doing all sorts of bonding things because we
sweet.
shot the movie in 18 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you really feel that chemistry and camaraderie and that rich history between you and each of the characters in the film.
It's true.
And I think that's really a testament to all the internal work that you did within your character. Because you immediately you can see like how many years each characters have known each other for
It's true.
and all of that history. And so it's so interesting to hear you sort of pull the curtain back on that.
I mean, that's the thing. I was in my garden writing a cookbook. I didn't really know if I would continue on. I thought maybe Broadway was a nice kind of thing to kind of end on, thinking, okay, I went from Baywatch to Broadway. That's kind of cool. And
It is.
cool.
Damn
But then to
straight.
do this film. I mean, I think the past shouldn't dictate your future.
Hmm.
And I really like to live in the moment and really want to enjoy this time in my life. But looking back in hindsight, I was always creating characters. And I feel like I know I've created a few Halloween costumes, even that they were memorable characters. So I just take it as a compliment. I don't know if you have kids or if you're in a relationship. You don't have kids yet, right? But there's being a working mom and being in this entertainment world, and even having your mom be, sexualized in some way. Like a lot of the things I went through, I didn't realize my kids were going through them at the same time. So as adult children, we talk about that a lot, and you kind of beg forgiveness for your adult children, but they.
I think that's yeah, I like what she's saying. Your past shouldn't predict your future. Or, yeah, what she was saying there. I think that's also very interesting because whether Pamela Anderson played the sex symbol or a frumpy mom, she would have been sexualized no matter what because she's a woman. So I mean, I hear what she's saying, of course, that like that would be hard on her children. I don't think that that's a burden that she needs to bear though, because it's not her fault that our society sees women as objects. So
We're such a team now. At some point, I was working with Kareem Anuz in Barcelona. I said, I just want to dive in this pool and I want to let everything go of my past. I don't want to even think about it anymore. I'm sick of hearing about it. I just want to start now. And he goes, no, bring it with you, baby. And I was like, yeah, that's so much easier. Yes, I'm going to bring it with me. It was just, so I'm not ashamed of my life. I'm not ashamed of the choices that I made, even though maybe in hindsight I would have done things differently. But you need life experience to know that you would have done that differently.
I think that's interesting too because I remember at the beginning of my career, people talked a lot about how life experience is what really would help form an actor. Gosh, when I watch actors now, I can just tell when somebody has had experience. There's something that actors bring, and it's one of the reasons why I just wish women were allowed to age and there were more roles for women further later on in their life, further in their life as well, because there's something that comes with experience. I can't really explain it, but yeah, there's something there with age, with experience, with just like living a full, rich life full of, ups, downs, heartbreaks, everything. You can just bring so much more to a character and it makes a character so much more interesting.
Past. I don't know if I was ever looking for my voice or I didn't realize I'd ever find it.
I don't think that there's anything to be ashamed about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell myself that too.
Yeah, well, you said that word, and I think that, like, shame, it's such a, gosh, that's like, I said that now, and it's such like a palpable feeling. And I think that as women, like, we all feel that at some point in our life or multiple different times. And I think that when you live your life and you, like you said, you bring all of those things with you, and it makes you who you are. And I think the
What did I just say? See, right? Like, yeah.
the life that we live, it makes us better actors as well.
Like, a lot to draw from.
Absolutely. But
mhm.
this whole incredible, amazing life. And I think only someone who has lived a rich life is able to give that kind of performance.
As an actress, it was just really incredible to watch your performance too. You are so amazing and you're so young.
Yeah, that last scene, I was so nervous to shoot that because it's such an important scene in the film and so important, like the most important for the character, because she's been carrying around this like heavy baggage of pain and heartbreak, and she's just been suffocating it inside of her. She doesn't want anybody to see her vulnerable. She doesn't want anyone to see her crack. And so to have that private moment and to let it out, I put so much pressure on myself as an actress to like get it right.
Mm.
Which is, there's like no such thing as getting it right. Like
Sure.
you're either in the moment and it's honest or it's not.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely.
And so I remember getting to set and we had tried to shoot it so many times and something would always go wrong, like the lighting or the snow wouldn't look right. And I was like, like I feel like I just need to ground myself.
Mm.
I had almost like given up on the scene in some weird way. And I was like, how do I ground myself? How do I like get to this place? So I just I tried to channel all the frustration that I felt.
Smart. Really smart. The best thing you can do in these situations is use that frustration. It will only ever help. Because, like, if you're feeling it, you're feeling it. To try and pretend that it's not there, the audience will know. They'll be able to see and read a disconnect there. The audience is not dumb. They know when somebody is being truthful and when they are forcing something. So, yeah, the best thing to do is use it.
I wanted to ask you this. I know we don't have much time, but as an actress, like I have a couple things in my back pocket that I'll carry with me, like little things that just kind of like this. Yeah, triggers, things that sort of rip me up inside a little bit. And I have this voicemail that my dad left me like years ago. And it's, for whatever reason, it's very private. Like I won't go into it too much, but I was like, you know what if I play this before the scene? I think maybe that will give me something a little more personal. And so Sean was sitting in the back seat of the car with his monitor, and then obviously you or Brisa, who plays Eager, is in the front seat, and we played it, and all three of us listened to it, which is like embarrassing, vulnerable. I think it sort of connected all of us together and grounded us to this place of like extreme vulnerability, to where I was able to shoot the scene and we just
I'm gonna cry. Oh my gosh.
She was able to just like let go in a way.
Yeah, using like personal triggers and things like that has to be done properly and safely, because it can be a lot. Talking about being vulnerable, I'm sure that was probably more difficult for her to do. Share that voicemail with others was probably way scarier for her than any of her nude scenes. So, yeah.
I never thought I'd be non-actress, actress. This is such a surreal moment, right?
I thought that I would be here either. It's crazy.
I love that.
Like, we're mixing it up. We're stirring it up,
But also to talk with you, like I think you're wonderful, and I'm very excited to see the kind of work you do next, and to see you like continue to dive into these characters, because I love watching you on screen. You have this presence, and I'm excited. Yeah, maybe one day we'll do something together.
Yes. Oh my God, wouldn't that be great?
I love that.
Well, I'm really proud of you, and I just wish you every success.
I thought that was a really interesting and just beautiful conversation. Again, it's definitely very smart to have those two women speaking with each other. You can tell that they both really understood each other and could relate, of course, as well. So, yeah, that was super interesting. I will also make sure to link the full interview down below so you can just watch it. Let me know if there are any other interviews or conversations you'd like me to tackle for next time. But I think I'm definitely going to keep doing this because you learn so much, and I find it so fascinating and interesting. So that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and I was able to give maybe a different perspective. If you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe because I'm going to be doing more videos like this. This was really, really fun. So I'll see you in the next one.